This American family owns the Walmart empire. When a small-town kid from Oklahoma borrowed his wife's savings to open a five-and-dime store in rural Arkansas, nobody could have predicted he'd create the largest retail empire in human history. The Walton family didn't just get rich, they became the wealthiest family in America, surpassing even tech billionaires and oil tycoons. But unlike the Vanderbilts, who blew their fortune in a single generation, the Waltons have kept their grip on power for over 6 decades. How'd they do it? Well, today we're going to take a deep dive into how the famous Waltons built their empire and why they're still on top. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the channel. After that, leave a comment and let us know what other American dynasties you'd like to hear about. Okay, time for a good old rags-to-riches story that actually stayed rich. The humble beginnings. Samuel Moore Walton was born in 1918 in Kingfisher, Oklahoma, and no, that's not a made-up name. The son of a farm appraiser and mortgage agent, Sam grew up during the Great Depression, moving from town to town as his father chased work. Unlike trust fund kids who inherit their ambition along with their money, Sam had to hustle from day one. He delivered newspapers, worked as a lifeguard, and did pretty much any job that would put a few dollars in his pocket. But here's where Sam was different. He wasn't just working to survive. He was studying the game. At the University of Missouri, where he majored in business, Sam delivered newspapers, waited tables, and somehow still found time to become student body president. The man was basically a one-person networking machine, and anyone who's seen his old interviews knows he never lost that down-home, aw-shucks personality. Though let's be real, that folksy charm probably helped him build a retail empire worth hundreds of billions of dollars. From five and dime to game changer. After college in 1940, Sam did what any ambitious young man would do. He got a job as a management trainee at J.C. Penney in Des Moines, Iowa, making $75 a month. That's about $1,600 today, which honestly doesn't sound much better. But World War II interrupted his retail career, and Sam served in the Army Intelligence Corps stateside. When he came back, he married Helen Robson on Valentine's Day, 1943. And here's a fun fact. Helen's dad actually loaned Sam $20,000 to buy his first store. That's around $350,000 in today's money. Helen also put up her own savings as collateral. So yeah, behind every great man and all that. In 1945, Sam purchased a Ben Franklin variety store franchise in Newport, Arkansas. The store was a hit. Sam employed what were then revolutionary ideas, staying open longer hours than competitors, offering a wider selection, and keeping prices low through volume buying. Within just 3 years, his little store became the most profitable Ben Franklin franchise in the entire region. Not bad for a farm kid from Oklahoma. But here's where things get interesting. When Sam's lease expired in 1950, the building owner refused to renew it. Why? Because the landlord's son wanted to take over the successful business Sam had built. Ouch. Instead of giving up, Sam moved to Bentonville, Arkansas, and opened Walton's Five and Dime in 1950. By the early 1960s, he and his brother Bud operated a whole chain of successful Ben Franklin stores. The birth of Walmart. Sam had a radical idea. What if you opened discount stores in small rural towns that the big city retailers ignored? The Ben Franklin executives thought he was nuts and rejected his proposal. So in 1962, Sam did what any self-respecting visionary would do. He said, "Screw it," and opened his own store. Mortgaging his home and borrowing to the hilt, he opened the first Walmart Discount City in Rogers, Arkansas in 1962. Now, 1962 was a crazy year for retail. That same year, S.S. Kresge launched Kmart and Woolworths started Woolco, both of which could have easily crushed Walmart. But Sam had a secret weapon. Geography. He was so far off the beaten path in rural Arkansas that the retail giants didn't even notice him. While Kmart was conquering the suburbs, Sam was serving small-town America that everyone else had forgotten about. And rural customers. They were thrilled. Finally, big city discounting had come to them. Sales absolutely soared. Sam's strategy clustered stores no farther than one day's drive from a giant warehouse that made large volume purchases and distributed goods using its own trucking services. No frills, no fancy displays, just low prices and good merchandise. His motto was simple: we sell for less and satisfaction guaranteed. By 1969, there were 18 Walmarts throughout Arkansas and Missouri. In 1970, Sam took the company public, with the initial offering generating nearly $5 million. But here's the kicker: the Walton family held on to their shares. They didn't cash out. They didn't get greedy. They kept control. This is where they differ from so many other American families who sold out too early. The empire expands. The 1970s and 80s were absolutely insane for Walmart. By 1977, there were 190 stores, and by 1985, there were 800 stores. In 1983, Walton founded Sam's Wholesale Club, a chain of deep discount wholesale warehouse outlets. Once again, he struck gold. By 1985, Forbes magazine declared Sam Walton the richest man in America with an estimated net worth of $2.8 billion. That's about $8 billion in today's money, which honestly seems quaint compared to what came next. By 1990, Walmart had passed Sears and Kmart to become the largest retailer in the United States. And Sam? He was still driving his old pickup truck around Bentonville, wearing a baseball cap and visiting stores to talk with employees. He famously led his workers in Walmart cheers and insisted on profit-sharing plans that made many regular employees wealthy through stock ownership. He wasn't just building a company, he was building a cult of loyalty. The next generation takes control. When Sam Walton died on April 5, 1992, at age 74, of multiple myeloma, he left behind a retail juggernaut. At the time of his death, Walmart had established 1,735 stores, 212 Sam's Clubs, and 13 supercenters with a total of 380,000 employees and annual sales of almost $50 billion. And unlike Commodore Vanderbilt, who told his son, "Any fool can make a fortune, it takes a man of brains to hold on to it," before watching his descendants blow it all, Sam set up a structure to preserve the family wealth. Sam and Helen had 4 children: Rob, John, Jim, and Alice. Under the terms of Sam's will, the family maintained control of the company through Walton Enterprises. Today, the Walton family still owns about 46% of Walmart's shares, down from over 50% after they sold some stock and made charitable donations, but still an absolutely dominant stake. Rob Walton served as Walmart's chairman from 1992 to 2015. Jim Walton runs Arvest Bank, one of Arkansas's largest financial institutions. Alice Walton founded the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Arkansas, a world-class museum she built with $1.2 billion of her own money. And John Walton, who died tragically in a plane crash in 2005, was heavily involved in education reform and philanthropy. The numbers are absolutely staggering. Let's talk about just how rich the Waltons really are. As of 2024, the family's combined net worth is estimated at over $430 billion. Read that again. $430 billion. That makes them richer than Elon Musk, richer than Jeff Bezos, richer than pretty much anyone who isn't running a small country. In 2024 alone, thanks to an 80% surge in Walmart's stock price, the family added $173 billion to their fortune in a single year. That's $328,000 of new wealth every single minute. While you were reading this sentence, the Waltons just made enough money to buy a nice house. In cash. Even after selling about $22 billion in stock and giving away $11 billion to charity over the past decade, they're still getting richer. In September 2024, both Jim and Rob Walton individually surpassed $100 billion in net worth. They're literally in a club with only a handful of other people on Earth. Walmart, today, a global behemoth. Today, Walmart is the largest retailer in the world with more than 10,750 stores as of March 2025. The company operates in 24 countries including Canada, Mexico, China, India, and the United Kingdom. Walmart employs over 2.1 million people globally, making it one of the largest private employers on the planet. Annual revenue, over $600 billion. To put that in perspective, that's larger than the GDP of countries like Sweden, Poland, and Belgium. Walmart isn't just a company, it's an economic superpower. The Walmart effect is a real economic phenomenon studied by researchers, referring to the massive impact the company has on any region where it opens a store, from driving down local prices to affecting wage rates and even changing shopping patterns. The Walton family may not be as involved in day-to-day operations anymore. CEO Doug McMillon runs the show, but they still control the company's strategic direction through their enormous ownership stake. They serve on the board, they make the big decisions, and they cash massive dividend checks. It's the perfect setup for dynastic wealth. The philanthropy game, unlike Commodore Vanderbilt, who only donated $1 million to Vanderbilt University and didn't really care about charity, the Waltons have gone all in on philanthropy. In 1987, Sam Walton established the Walton Family Foundation, which has become one of the most influential charitable organizations in America. The foundation primarily focused on charter schools, but later extended its program to include environmental issues, particularly water-related. In 2016, Alice and Jim Walton put up a $250 million grant towards building charter school facilities, and the foundation announced it would spend $1 billion over the next 5 years to expand educational opportunity. Love them or hate them, the Waltons have genuinely changed the American education landscape. But they haven't stopped there. Alice's Crystal Bridges Museum has brought world-class art to rural Arkansas. Admission is free, by the way. The family has also donated heavily to environmental causes, particularly water conservation projects. Helen Walton, before she died in 2007, was known for being incredibly generous in her community. What the Vanderbilts got wrong and the Waltons got right. So, what's the difference between the Vanderbilts, who went from richest family in America to completely broke in just 3 generations, and the Waltons, who keep getting richer? First, the Waltons didn't blow their money on ridiculous mansions and parties. Sure, they have nice homes, but they're not building 70-room Italian palazzos or throwing million-dollar costume balls. Second, they kept control of the business. The Vanderbilts sold off railroad shares and lost majority control of their companies. The Waltons? They've held on to nearly half of Walmart's stock for over 60 years. That's generational thinking. Third, they diversified intelligently. Jim Walton runs Arvest Bank. The family has investments across multiple sectors. They're not putting all their eggs in one retail basket, even though that basket is really, really big. Fourth, and this is huge, they created a corporate structure that ensured continuity. Walton Enterprises holds the family's shares collectively, preventing any one family member from selling everything and tanking the dynasty. The Vanderbilts divided their wealth among heirs, who then divided it among their heirs until it was dust. The Waltons? They're still united through their holding company. The critics and controversies. Of course, nobody gets that rich without making enemies. Walmart has faced endless criticism over the years. Allegations of low wages, union busting, driving small businesses out of towns, importing cheap goods from China, environmental concerns, you name it. The Walton family has been accused of hoarding wealth while their employees rely on government assistance. There's also been some family drama. In 2005, when John Walton died in that plane crash, his widow Christy and son Lucas took his place in the family business structure. Not all marriages have worked out. There have been divorces and disputes over money, though nothing like the spectacular public legal battles some other wealthy families have experienced. And let's be honest, the sheer concentration of wealth is staggering. The Walton family's net worth exceeds the combined wealth of the bottom 42% of American households. That's not a typo. 6 people have more money than 130 million Americans combined. Whether you think that's the beautiful result of capitalism or a grotesque example of inequality kind of depends on your politics. The future of the dynasty. So, what's next for the Waltons? The 3rd and 4th generations are now involved in the business. Greg Penner, who is married to Sam Walton's granddaughter, serves as Walmart's board chairman. Other family members are on the board or involved in the Walton Family Foundation. The family has shown they can adapt. They've invested heavily in e-commerce to compete with Amazon. They've expanded into new markets globally. They've modernized their supply chain and embraced technology. Unlike Sears or Kmart, which failed to adapt and died, Walmart under Walton family guidance has evolved. As of 2026, there's no sign of the Walton empire crumbling. If anything, they're getting stronger. While other billionaires see their fortunes fluctuate with tech stocks and crypto, the Waltons just keep stacking dividend checks from Walmart's reliable retail business. The verdict. Sam Walton started with his wife's savings and a dream of bringing discount shopping to small-town America. He built the largest retail company in human history. His family has kept control for over 60 years and accumulated more wealth than any American family before them. They've avoided the mistakes that destroyed the Vanderbilts, the Astors, and countless other once mighty dynasties. Are they perfect? Hell no. Are they controversial? Absolutely. But you can't deny they've mastered the art of building and maintaining generational wealth. While the Commodore's great-great-grandchildren were attending that famous 1973 Vanderbilt family reunion where nobody was a millionaire, the Walton family was counting their billions. Love them or hate them, the Waltons proved that in America you can still build an empire that lasts, as long as you don't spend it all on mansions, parties, and yachts. So, what do you think? Is the Walton family the ultimate American success story, or an example of wealth inequality gone too far? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, check out some of these other videos about American dynasties and how they made or lost their fortunes.